All righty. Good evening. It's great to be here, or good morning for some of you in Australia and around the world. Welcome to the call tonight. My name is Patty Cepeda. Herb and I are here to go over a little bit about Connect United in the next half hour or so. We intend to bring you something that's got us very, very excited. And the reason it does is because not only is it a potential to be in front of something that's exploding faster than the internet, but it allows you to participate. So can you imagine if we could rewind the clock and you had the opportunity to have been able to not only know about and understand, because if you rewind the clock, we didn't quite understand the internet, if you recall. But imagine if we could only not only understand it, but also have had the opportunity to participate and monetize the growth. Now, as the Monday morning quarterbacks, they're able to see clearly that it took over the world. Blockchain technology is currently growing faster than the internet was at its same point in time in development. So we're extremely excited for you to be here tonight. We want to welcome you. I always remind new guests to be patient with yourself as you start to learn about something with new vocabulary, new terminology, new concepts. But the reason it fires me up personally is because we got an opportunity to meet with some people who had made billions of dollars down in the islands back in February. And where we were skeptical, and I really had my heels dug in. And to be honest, I had my heels dug in about the internet. I had my heels dug in about this even more, I think so, because I thought it was nefarious. I didn't know what it was, and I just didn't know. And a quick, incredible story, we had a house for sale, and we were offered to Bitcoin for the price of the house, which was up in the millions. And we literally, I was like, this, no way. I knew nothing about it. I absolutely wasn't open to it whatsoever. Oh boy. Well, if I knew what I knew now, we at least have the connections that could have guided us in the right direction. And you're not here to hear about Bitcoin, but that's what happens when we don't know about things. We tend not to want to change. We tend not to want to get involved. But the truth is after our visit down to Puerto Rico, and Herb had, with his background being in the state police in New York and a little cynical, a little skeptical, he had them all vetted. We went down and met with some incredible people who are now in our lives, and we get to meet with them regularly. They've done incredible things in this industry and in this entire space of blockchain technology. And I was talking to a woman today, and she was asking, well, I don't get it. What is blockchain technology? I said, it's really nothing more than millions of computers that go to work and they're mining coins. Now that sounds ridiculously, absurd. It sounds, if you're new to this space, people are saying, what are you talking about? Goes back to the fact that you're learning a lot of vocabulary here. But what's happening now in our economy and what's about to happen as it's forthcoming, and we can all see it, we can all feel it. What's going to be of value? Gold, silver, and crypto. Maybe real estate, possessions. But you know what? I believe people are moving this direction. And as I was explaining to her, well, how does crypto have any value to it? She was kind of hanging on every word because she knows that I'm a righteously inclined person, and the different businesses, which we call in this particular space projects, that are moving me personally are righteously inclined. Getting kids out of slavery, stopping child trafficking, ethical mining, what's in our food, things of that nature. But we're real excited about this particular platform too. So we're going to talk about quite a few different projects. But as I explain those to you, the project we're on right now is called R-Link in the video conferencing space. And of course, in this, I explained that each of the cryptos that we'll tell you about are mined on specific called blockchains. But she said, well, what is that? And that's what I want to turn over to her, because I went through it today very quickly with her, and it was so simple. And she was like, wow, that's so fantastic. And it makes sense. So I'll turn it over to Herb, and then he'll go into a little bit about what blockchain technology is. Then we'll tell you a little bit more about some of the other things that we have that we're doing with these projects.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that what caught my eye almost immediately when we met with these people, and they're unbelievable people, and they're tackling big projects, big world projects right now. So it's not easy, but they're tackling them. And you know what? The early adopters of what they're doing, the people who decide to lock arms with them and, really partner up with them, they're in for a big surprise financially. I'm talking unbelievable potential. And I say potential because just like everything else, when things are starting, nobody has the crystal ball to foresee the future. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, in fact. And, we don't even know if, is there a possibility that what we're talking about could fall flat on its face? Of course, there's a possibility. Likelihood? I don't think so. And so when we talk about tackling big projects and the payoffs, here's what I want you to bear in mind. A few years back, the World Economic Forum made a statement that really captured my attention. And the statement was this. The statement was that early adopters of the blockchain could possibly participate in the disruption of $867 trillion of global markets. That is huge, absolutely staggering. I mean, if you look at the global economy that's going on right now, when this statement was made, you can actually look at the date right here. It's 2021. Well, today is 2024. And what's the difference in 2024? Well, not only 3 years, but that number is probably more in line with $1.4 quadrillion will be disrupted by blockchain technology. So what is this blockchain technology that they're talking about? It's nothing more than, like Patty said, a whole bunch of computer software around the globe interfacing, looking at data, items, information, confirming, validating, discrediting. And once they finish doing that, all of these softwares will actually stamp that information into a block, and they'll do the next task, and they'll do it again repetitively. Look at one item, stamp a block, connect it to the previous one. Look at one item. And when I say look at an item, we're talking about, if not thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of computer software interfacing on projects. And they're looking and they're boom, okay, we validated that, stamp it, attach it to the previous one, essentially making a chain of these blocks of information. Well, let's think about that for a second. What just went on? What went on was decentralization. This was not done by a government. It wasn't done by a company. It wasn't done by a bank. It wasn't done by the central banking system at all. It was conducted by independent software owned by independent people, just like you and I. Not owned by BlackRock or Vanguard or anything like Fidelity Investment, owned by people around the world like you and I. How powerful can this become? Want me to give you an example of how powerful this can become? Think back in 2009, when somebody wrote the infamous white paper for Bitcoin. And in 2009, no one wanted it. Late 2009, a few people bought it because the price skyrocketed to 50 cents. In 2010, it was unheard of. The price went to $1. Today, that same Bitcoin you can get for around, Coin Market Cap has it at about $68,000, $70,000 today. What happened? People around the globe said, I see value in that. And if I said, look, I've got these little AirPods right here, and they're the only ones in a green case, how would you like to buy them? And if you offered me $5 for them, and if I was willing to give it to you, it's yours. But now that it's yours, you could turn around and say to people, I've got the only green case AirPods available. Give me $10 for it. Somebody in Budapest might say, I'll give you the $10 for it. And it goes to them in Budapest. Now, all of a sudden, somebody in Milan, Italy says, I'll give you $15 for that. You getting my point? It's people creating demand and creating value in something. So when people say nothing's backing Bitcoin, something very valuable is backing Bitcoin. It's people's word. It's what people deem to be valuable. But when you really look at it, it's fascinating to me because all that value was created by just people's words. Well, for the first time ever, you've got a community starting to develop called Connect United. That's what you're here to hear about. And Connect United is putting forth what? Projects that have real world utility. What does that mean? Real world utility means, well, you're invited onto an R-Link meeting, a rally. We call these rallies, they're video conferencing. You've been on video conferencing before. What's the difference? Well, the difference is no one sent you a go-to meeting link No one sends you a Google Talks, Microsoft Teams, or a Zoom link to come on to. What do all those companies have in common? A few things. Number one, they're owned by companies. They're big companies. They're centralized. They have stockholders. Zoom has major stockholders, mainly Vanguard and BlackRock. They're traditional types of companies, and they're huge. And yet, for all the people who participate in those platforms around the globe, I think it's been said that Zoom has an average of 300 million people per day on a Zoom. Do you really recognize that not one of those people is rewarded for their participation? So, what if you can take the concept of video conferencing, for example, R-Link, totally decentralize it, make it not owned by the big boys, but let you and I have an opportunity to partake in the ownership of it. How? We buy the software. Remember, I talked about the software that interfaces on the blockchain? We buy the software and we let the cloud use the software, and it rewards us for that. It literally pays us tokens, rewards, coins. You can call it what you want. That's what's so fascinating about blockchain technology. I think that's the reason why the World Economic Forum said what they said. Because when you look at that concept of this advancement of technology, what you find is that those blocks really create an immutable ledger that you can always go back and check. You can check the data on that. Our kids will be able to check the data on the blockchain that we're participating in right now. Their children will be able to participate and check the data as well. Nothing is hidden. And so there's no secrets, everything's exposed. But what's nice is because it's an immutable ledger, it allows for contracts, peer-to-peer contracts to be conducted person to person around the globe without a bank. Just before this rally tonight, I was on the phone and the person's probably on this rally right now. And they said, I want in on this. Whatever you guys are doing, I want in on this. And I said, you're a smart person. And let me tell you why. It's not because of us. This thing is going to explode regardless of what happens and who's involved with it. It's just going to explode. And so I walked her through the process. I said, look, go to this website. I sent her a link to a website. I said, set up an account. After you set up an account, set up your non-custodial wallet. For some of you, that might be new verbiage. In the very near future, the next year or two, you're all going to understand what I just said. Even if you think you don't understand it right now, you are all going to understand it, especially in the United States. Because in the US, our government is attempting to institute something called, you got it. What is it? What's it called, Patty? Central Bank Digital Currency.
And
CBDC. And they're
yeah,
going to track all of your finances. They're going to track all of your money. But here's the interesting part. People is going to think it's blockchain. I'm not quite sure about that. Or if it is, it's under custodial control. They can turn it off on you. So I told the person who's probably on this call tonight or on this rally, set up your non-custodial wallet. They said, what does that mean? I said, what it means is that you and only you have access to the assets in that wallet in the whole globe. No bank.
Herbie, I gotta interject what they did to us just a couple weeks back now. They went into our custodial account, our bank account, and with Wells Fargo, and they just took out almost $7,000 because they claimed that we owed employee benefit or taxes for South Carolina, and we haven't been doing business in South Carolina for many years. So that's a custodial account. And I'm telling you that if you do not do something about this CBDC, the central bank digital currency, CBDC move, a lot of banks will move your money into that and you'll need to comply. And that's something to be concerned with.
You know what, Patty? It's the great awakening, everybody, that's going on. We're waking up. We're starting to figure out the system that they've had in place for literally centuries.
Yeah.
And we're starting to figure out the flaws in the system. And we're
Herbie,
starting to say,
go ahead, finish that thought.
We're
I was gonna go back to, I was going to remind everybody when we went to visit these people in Puerto Rico, one of them happened to have been the number one miner of Bitcoin in the world at one point. And we literally were in his home and he was showing us pictures on his computer of what looked like football fields worth of computers inside of warehouses mining. That's what it's called, Bitcoin. And there had never been an example of success in cryptocurrency prior to Bitcoin. So he took a lot of risk, really, and forethinking to do that. Obviously, he literally did extremely well and it panned out well for him. Here today, as Herb was saying, and I was saying to my a couple people today that I was talking to, is that here what's happening, we're not talking about Bitcoin, our ecosystem that we're creating and bringing to our righteously inclined movement. Each of the projects, which can be interchangeably called businesses, but they're not businesses because no one owns them. No one person owns the business. The people who are the owners of the businesses, but they're called projects here, are the node owners. Node, N-O-D-E, is the name of the software. So instead of the hardware that Wright had in his warehouses, and it looked like thousands of computers, now you can get involved and become a what's called a miner by purchasing some computer software in this community called a node, hosting it in the cloud, as Herb was mentioning. Your software goes to work with the other millions of computers, and each particular, and what it pans out to you is rewards in the form of tokens. And what's interesting is at one point, Bitcoin's value was a fraction of a penny. And today, as Herb mentioned, we met with a guy who bought, it's up there in the 60 plus thousand, closing in on $70,000 a token now, right? Bitcoin. We met with a gentleman in Florida who purchased back in 2010 1,000 Bitcoin for $1. It was $1 back then. And he had an unction. He went on an unction. Well, obviously, and at the point we met with them, they were worth $73,000 a coin, and he still had all of it. So that's $73 million. And what I was explaining to this woman today, and it really was an aha moment for her, is that we have a project that's called Element for Ethical Mining. Stop the blood diamonds, stop using children, leave the land the way that they found it. We have another project that is all about ethical food. And I started to explain to her, that's a great project, because she was asking me about how is it something that we can use? I said, well, listen, grow is, imagine if maybe there's 10 of us walking down Main Street looking for a place to eat, and we see a restaurant marked Grow, proud member of Grow. I said, come on, let's go in there. Well, what that means is we have farms around the world that are ethically mining. So we can go into this restaurant, scan a QR code, and it comes up, hey, this is cattle, we're going to have steaks. This is cattle number 428-21221 out of Royal Ranch Farms in Washington State. Can you believe this? And this particular cow grazed on this many pounds of pasture during its grazing lifetime. It was never injected with hormones or antibiotics. Humanely raised, shipped, and processed at this location. And on your plate, never frozen in less than 24 to 48 hours. You can order more. And the grow farms can actually, they get carbon credits. It inspires the farmers to get involved. That's another project. So I started to explain to this woman, I said, so what happens with these particular blockchains is each of these different projects, including Arlink, it goes to work. And when Herbie was saying it was stamping information into blocks, it goes on assignments for different things. So the Grow blockchain is going to go to work. It's going to go to work and determine, are they taking care of the animals the way that they say? Are they taking care of the lands the way that they say? Et cetera, and so on. And that's what the Grow blockchain goes to work to do. If you own a software node in Grow, you're mining those tokens. You're literally getting tokens. So I said to her, I can literally go to the nourishmart.com, which is one of our farms. That's actually the one that's linked to the one in Washington State. And they've actually just brought on another one because we have so many people now that are doing this. We can order our beef from the Grow farm and pay with the tokens we mine. So we're literally creating our own ecosystem. This particular blockchain here with our link would have a different assignment. Element would have a different assignment because people ask. And if you own software nodes in those particular projects, you can become the miner in those particular projects. Herb and I actually happen to be very excited about all of the different projects. We have many more than that. And we own software nodes in most of them. But the one we're most excited about is this one. So I'll turn it over to you.
Well, we're excited about it because we've, like I said before, we're putting it all together. We're figuring it all out, right? I mean, you used the example before Bitcoin going from nothing to nearly $70,000 today, according to CoinMarketCap, really backed by only the word of people. Now you have a community called Connect United that's bringing projects like this one, ArtLink. You know, we're hosting a rally right now. It has a utility. What's the utility? The platform itself. So can you imagine using video conferencing and being rewarded for it continuously versus going on a Zoom meeting, for example, and not being rewarded for it? So you look at it. Somebody told me recently, he said, so this is like you're taking a gamble with the success. And I'm like, no. And they said, no, how can it not be gambling? I said, well, when I think of gambling, I have no way of influence the outcome of what I'm betting on. That's gambling. This, we all can influence the outcome here. We can use the platform. We can spread the information to other people about them being rewarded for using the platform. So we, in essence, can move the needle and make this a reality for literally hundreds of millions of people around the globe. And that's what I think is going to happen. That's my vision.
Yeah,
I think people are going to start to see this platform, and they're going to start to see people using it, and they're going to start to hear about the talk that it's not centralized. So there's no Zoom bombing, there's no capturing data, because that's what these companies are doing to you. They're selling your data. They're literally eavesdropping on your Zoom conversations. They have the ability to go in and watch what you're doing and saying. AI, with the advancement of artificial intelligence, they can capture the imaging of the people who are on the camera. Guys, it's scary. It's literally scary. And now all of a sudden, we have a group of righteously inclined people. And when you meet the people behind this project and behind the community, I bet on them. That's a bet. That's a gamble I would take. I would bet on these people. Why? They have proven success.
Let me talk about that, Herbie, because I was just thinking about that. You know, when we were also meeting with Right out in Puerto Rico, and I told you he was at one point the #1 miner of Bitcoin in North America at one point. He was also approached through different few people who we've come to know, many of them, who got involved with decentralized gaming and a company called Gala. Gala ended up going from 0.00015 of a penny to 83 plus cents. And there's 50,000 plus people who made over $1 million with Gala. And now we've had the opportunity to meet with quite a few of those people here in, you know, because obviously they're still involved. They still all know one another and they're excited to lock arms and have something so purposeful, you know, not just gamers. We're actually attracting people who see the value of changing things for the better. And one in particular, Billy, made tons of money, millions upon millions. And he says, you know, he still has Gala tokens, or I'm sorry, not Gala tokens, but Gala nodes that he'll never sell because there are a limited number of nodes in each of the projects. So
And
if you decide you want to get
everybody needs to know that the nodes are the software. And
the
so when we
software
talk about
nodes,
these past projects, even Bitcoin, for example, I mean, I literally have sat down with people who've made tens of millions of dollars buying tokens, buying coins, buying rewards, tens of millions. But you know what? If they were mining the coins, they would have been producing them every
bingo.
day. And so what we're giving you the opportunity to do is come join us. Mine the tokens that are about to be distributed from ArtLink. The tokens are going to be phenomenal. Over the course of the next 24 months, we'll probably see someplace in the vicinity of 37.5 billion tokens being rewarded of the total 50 billion tokens that a project has.
This year.
And you know what, Patty? I don't even expect everybody to understand all that any of what we're saying. Here's what I expect you to understand. Just revert back to this. Really, just revert back to this. When you have a question in your mind, oh, what is this blockchain stuff they're talking? It's not just Herb and Patty Cepeda talking about it. By far, we're blips on the radar. We're nothing compared to the magnitude of what the World Economic Forum says that's going to happen. So just remember that. That's all you need to remember. And when you start to recall it, you start to say to yourself, maybe this is worth investigating a little bit more. Maybe I should actually, do my homework a little bit more. Maybe I should get back in touch with the person who invited me to this little rally here and say, what was all that they're doing? And what did they say about real world utility? Like I saw them using a platform, but that platform is going to provide rewards. The answer is yeah. If you're a node owner of this platform, it's going to provide rewards to you. And so we're hyped about it, guys. We're so excited about it. And before we close, Patty, I don't know if you want to say anything else, but before we do close,
I do. I just want to finish what I was saying, because the thing that I wanted to drive home the point to is these guys still have those software, and they won't sell them because there's no more. You can't buy them for under $100,000 in this Gala. Gala still is in the top 50 crypto, and he won't sell them. Why? Because they still generate to him hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And here we have a project like this one that, I mean, I never did gaming, and I know a lot of people have never done gaming. Here we have a project that everyone I speak to, young, middle age, old, everyone's using this platform. How big can this be? Because as we're growing it, what's going on here is we have right now, we've been 6 years in development. We have incredible legal team with Ken Cuccinelli, who was the former Attorney General for the state of Virginia, at the helm. We've got someone that used to work with the SEC, who is bringing down Ponzi schemes and illegal things in this space, who now consults with our legal team because we've got every T crossed and every I dotted. And right now we have platforms and projects where everything's ready to go. We're just introducing people like yourselves. And so people say, well, how can I make money? Well, not only the value of the rewards that you're mining, because you can go buy crypto anywhere. You can buy all sorts of different crypto, Shiba Inu, Ethereum, whatever. And basically you're buying the gallon of milk. Here we're offering you to own the cow that's generating the milk, right? So you're actually owning the software. You're a miner generating the actual tokens. And they're going to go up in value as the community gains traction, moves the needle, and we grow it because we can see it happening. We can see what's happening with this. And so as this starts to happen and people catch on that in a world when you can't even go, I was in Ulta today and ran into somebody, that's a makeup store for all you guys that are listening, but they even give rewards. Everywhere gives rewards. People catch on that you can get rewards here. They're not going to want to miss out. Why are they going to open up any other thing, GoToMeeting, Zoom, or whatever, when you can get rewards here? And
let's talk,
you can be a node owner.
let's talk about missing out. So let's close with this. Maybe you're one of those people in life that had an opportunity that many people look upon and say, wow, that person really was one of the few people of the billions of people on the planet that lucked out. But I didn't have that opportunity. I wasn't there when Amazon was being created, or Google, or Apple, or Microsoft, or any of the big players, right? Any of the big things that happened. I wasn't there, but the people who were there, not all of them took action. I know that for a fact. I know in 1995, between 1995 and 1996, there was a gentleman who had an idea, and who knew what was to come about his idea. He had a burning desire to make something happen. As a matter of fact, he solicited hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to invest in his idea. Now, we're not even looking for investments right now. We literally have people purchase software, not investing in anything. But he was going after traditional business. This is prior to blockchain. My point is, he had a vision. And of the hundreds and hundreds of people that he spoke to, I think 20 of them took him up on it. And of the 20, 3 were family members. His mother, of course, your mother's going to back you, right? His mother gave him 10 grand. His sister, Christina, gave 10,000. His brother, Mark, gave 10,000. Today, each one of those $10,000 is worth 1.3 billion, because that was the start of Amazon, Jeff Bezos' company. Guys, We don't think this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. We think we'll never see this opportunity. We don't think mankind will see an opportunity of this magnitude again. And so I know we've hidden all the people from everybody tonight, but I can certainly, undo that and just
Well,
show
Herbie,
everybody that people
but
actually are here and people actually
yeah.
are with us. So
Let
it's
me say this though, as we're closing tonight. I want to encourage you to get back with whomever invited you to this overview. Get the link that you can use to open your free account. You'll get a wallet option in there as you go through opening your free account, where there's an incredible academy. People have said it's worth $6, 7, 8, $10,000. The value of what's in the academy that you can take for free. There's also a wallet set up. And I just want to point out, before you go do this, be sure to not screenshot there's a key phrase. It's a non-custodial wallet. Only you get this key phrase. So you don't want to take a screenshot of that. Just write it down neatly, number it, and then it'll prompt you to put it in on the next page. I say that till I'm blue in the face, and people come back and say, I took a screenshot. I said, well, delete it. You don't want to compromise that, because that's important. And the other thing I want to point out is we do regular training and support every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're doing training. We do regular meetings. Tomorrow night, there'll be another one of these with Darren Kidd, who's the CEO and actually the person who invited us to Puerto Rico. We're ever grateful. Good friend of ours of many years. And he will do this overview tomorrow on this platform. So you can continually plug in and learn. So you can be patient with yourself as you're learning. But one thing I do want to point out is you don't want to miss this, because the more you know, the more excited you'll get. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And we'll see you on the next Starlink. And I always say, hey, keep it others focused. Ask yourself today, who can I help? Have a nice day.